Well, that was unexpected. Hey guys, Straw Hat Gamer here to let's review and more talk about because we'll talk about chapter 784. If you've read it, there's no reason to look at what anyone has to think. Like, really, like, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure much people like this chapter. It's one of the awesomest displays of anything I've seen since I can't think of one. Firstly, some things about the chapter I have to, speak about. One, who read the first 2 pages of this chapter? Like, we go in really early in the morning, and we want to read the chapter. We want to see Gear 4th Luffy, and what does Oda do? He cuts to fucking something else. If he had did this for the entire chapter, or maybe even next couple of chapters, I would have got fucking mad, but, he only did it for 2 pages, which makes it kind of wonder why the fuck he did that in the first place. But I see the Kinemon thing, and, the Kinemon, Luffy, and Conjuro thing happening, and Violet, Hack, and Usopp, climbing the the spider net. Another thing about this chapter, before I get into Gear 4th Luffy, is Doflamingo. Doflamingo, I guess the first time I didn't read it, the first time I read it, I forgot he was there. Like, he blended into Luffy's awesomeness. No matter what Doflamingo would have done this chapter, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, because the focus was on Gear 4th Luffy. And speaking of which, Gear 4th Luffy, when I first saw his design, I was like, okay. And I just wanted to kind of see more, like, I wanted to, see what exactly he was, doing and what he was exactly going to do in that form, in that state. I first read it, of course, at 4 in the morning, with the manga panda translation. The translation didn't really get across. Like, I didn't really understand it. Maybe it was my 4 in the morning brain, but I don't know. So, we were talking about his elasticity, and I was like, what? His elasticity? What does that even mean? So, after rereading it about 8 times, I came to the conclusion that they meant, like, he inflated himself differently than the bone, since his muscles are, like, right under the skin. He's more, like, bouncy, like, his fist, bounce off things more because, the muscles are like a bigger mass of rubber, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, a beach ball or something. Well, not a beach ball, a yoga ball. Like, his fists are more like yoga balls now, but with armament hockey, they're like metal yoga balls. Outside of that, Gear 4th does look really cool, and to me, like, I don't know, some other people, they laughed at it. I laughed at it at first, but right now I really think it's cool looking. I like the arms. I like how the limbs are an armament hockey, and I like how big I like how big he is though. Like, it really, like, shines. His size really shines when he's beating the shit out of Doflamingo. And I like the attacks, which I'll get into in a second. But one thing about the hockey that I was really thinking about, like, if, how it's all, like, wavy about, like, right here, I was thinking that, when he's in the state, he has to really keep control over his muscles because it seems like they're more evenly distributed throughout his body, throughout his upper body, and he has to, like, keep it more focused than he does with his bones. But, so I'm thinking maybe he needs to concentrate on that more. That's why the hockey's less, like, how do I put this? It's less focused, like in one area. Like, instead of just having it like on his arm, like it kind of goes off a bit. He just keeps it in that general area instead of where one spot it exactly needs to be. Or it was always like that, and we just didn't see it because of Luffy's shirt thing. Something I forgot to mention like earlier is that this form of Luffy, this Nightmare Luffy, this Gear Fourth Luffy, I'm sorry, he looks like Inaru's Amaru form. Like, he has the size and he has even the pose. I don't know. He has the pose, and he even has like this kind of like steam thing that he has going around him. And he looks like Rajin, the Japanese god of thunder, but it makes more sense for him instead of him. And maybe like he was going through his mind, like Luffy, he was thinking like, how can I, expand my body? And I guess that was the first conclusion he came to. Like, instead of just inflating his arm, maybe he'll make it a little stylish, make it look pretty cool, like make him all Inaru looking. Or Inaru came down from the moon and told him, hey, you make your next form look like me. Another thing I noticed about this chapter, well, like about Nightmare, I keep calling him Nightmare Luffy, about Gear Fourth Luffy, is that he uses his, how his fists like go inside, like, I guess that is to like, if you like punch some, if you throw, going back to the yoga ball, if you throw a yoga ball at someone, it's going to bounce off their face and it's going to hurt them, but it's not going to hurt them as much as if you like really fucking hard. So that's why Luffy like pumps his fist into his, I think that's why he pumps his fist into like this kind of repressed, like compressed state, and then like bam, like really fast, like, because if the faster you throw it, like the harder it's going to hit them, like more like a baseball. Like if you throw it soft, like it's going to hurt, it might hurt them, but like if you throw it like super fucking hard and it goes really fucking fast right for their face, they're gonna get a broken jaw, like Doflamingo probably has. Another thing I noticed about his attacks, they're more revolved around, with the manga stream translation and like how they translated things and had the translation notes. I noticed that there were more canon attacks, like chivalry cannon, Rhino Snyder, which is a can, and it said like the kanji read like something that was canon. It was a cannon. It was type of cannon. So he has more cannon attacks now, which are pretty essentially stronger guns, like stronger, bigger guns. Because Luffy has bigger guns now. I love how these thought processes going through Doflamingo's head. Like, what the fuck? Why isn't anything working? Like, what the fuck would you just do? What the fuck? How could he punch me? What the fuck? How do you get so strong as to send me all the way down to the middle of the city? I think that's what he said. How can he fly with just kicking? Luffy learns how to skywalk in this chapter. I don't know if he could normally, but maybe. I doubt he could normally. His kicks aren't that strong, I don't think. Well, not by Skywalk standards. He's also like, why can't I hurt him? Why won't he shrink back? I think when Luffy like throws normal punches, like they kind of like come back. Like he throws them and then they come back. But like here, like when Luffy threw a punch, like it just kind of kept extending and punched like Doflamingo right in the face. So I'm actually curious to why that happened. Maybe it's because his muscle mass is a bit longer, so his, the rest of it can stretch farther. Since you have like more of it, it can stretch farther than if you have less of it. But Doflamingo did get his butt beat this chapter. I mean, like it was not even funny he got his butt beat. Like, I'm sorry, ass. He got his ass beat. It was very. I don't even know how to describe it. It was it was Super Saiyan Goku versus Frieza bad. Like not when he goes 100%, since that's less of a fair fight, but still Frieza gets some hits in. It was more like at the beginning when like Frieza was doing everything against throwing everything as against Goku, yet it wasn't even phasing him. Doflamingo's essentially bitch Frieza in this situation. I think that's all I have to say. It really fucking good chapter. Fucking awesome. Gear Fourth is fucking awesome looking. I don't know what Gear Fifth could be. Like Gear Fifth, it'd have to be something really fucking big and really fucking devastating. I mean, I don't see a situation where he'd need Gear Fifth like in the near future. Like I know Kaido's strong, but I mean, if he could do this against Doflamingo with Gear Fourth, I'm pretty sure he can fight him pretty. He can fight Kaido like I wouldn't necessarily say like even level, but I'd say he'd still do a pretty fucking good job. One last little thing before I sign off. I think the repercussion for this mode in this, Gear Fourth, state of being, it's probably gonna be like he can't move for a little while. Like, how Luffy used Gear Third and like he couldn't move for a while, but I think this is gonna be like worse. Like his either that or he's gonna like be cut up like a lot because he inflated his muscles, which is like right around his fucking skin, which is probably gonna like rip the skin a bit, or maybe it's too much for the skin and it's gonna rip. Either that or he's not gonna be able to move because he put too much force on his muscles. So that's just what I think for that. For the repercussion, I think the repercussion is gonna come either the next chapter or the chapter after that. But fucking Golden Week. So that's about it. That's all I gotta say. Really good chapter. I loved it. Probably one of my favorite chapters of the last. Nah, I think Sabo. I think the Sabo getting the flame fruit might. No, that's not better than this. Um, Favorite chapter like I've read of anything in the last year, maybe. Even Naruto. Well, Naruto had Sasuke versus Naruto, so I guess that can win out. But one of my favorite chapters over like the last year. So that's about it. Uh, I might make a Bleach video, might not. Chapter was pretty cool. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm just patting this shit out. All right.